Okay, Unika's out in Strive, so I really quickly wanted to attempt another arcade run. In general, I might just do arcade runs of every new character that comes out. I might skip Lucy just because I don't know anything about Cyberpunk and don't really have a lot of investment in that series, to the point where I actually just might skip, and if there's a season after, then we will jump back in and test out those characters. But again, it kind of depends. Maybe I'll be more inspired in the moment than I am now. But right now, I'm not really feeling Lucy. Oh yeah, I forgot. I had CPU settings turned on because I was lapping a little bit with Dizzy, actually, not even with Unika. So this update added frame data. It's not as good as Street Fighter's that has like the bar on the bottom. Someone did mod that in, but this is adequate. I would prefer the Street Fighter 6 method. So Unika is like a rushdown character. She has a lot of moves that are very reminiscent of Kai. So you have, is that Stun? Yeah, Stun Dipper. And then this one, which is like, Kai has several moves that basically do this in different games, and they're all called different things, it feels like. So yeah, some similarities to Kai. Her command normal, her 6H, changes modes for the weapon she has. So for example, the normal laser attack looks like this. If you mode switch first, it looks like this, and I think does more damage. This goes for a lot of her specials. Again, I don't remember attack names particularly well. She has a lot of like chains too. Like basically all of her like slash and heavy slash moves can chain into Mud Arbalist, which is nice. Her theme is also very good. Carpe Diem is like probably up there, like top 3 for me right now. And just Mud Arbalist while unleashing a... Okay, so... you can actually chain dust, jumping dust into that, so that's neat. Her normals seem alright. I guess I don't have the like know-how to be overly technical with this character in all fairness. She seems alright though, but I said that about Dizzy and was very quickly proven wrong on that. She has a DP, which is nice. I wish more characters had this, to be honest, because I feel like wake-up options can be a problem in this game, but maybe I'm just saying that as a Dizzy main. Blaze the Trail is like a sweep. This is basically what seems to be the best wall break move at the moment, from what I've seen. So Megadeth Buster is like her typical super. I don't know if that's like a mode Arbalist version of her super. Yeah, I don't think there is. But then her other special is really weird because she has to be at low health for this. You're kind of on Unika's theme. That's fair. I just like the Easter eggs of it, I think. I think that's kind of what does it for me, is just the sort of references to everything. But hey, spoilers for the anime, but her other special is this. This one's interesting because it's kind of like a dust, but you can basically combo in midair, and then it'll have an automatic finisher. I'm really bad at this, by the way. Do not expect good results from this. But if you press slash and heavy slash together, you get a special finisher. So, I'm going to talk about the anime a little bit. I'm not going to go into too much detail. One, the super is like one of my favorite supers in the game now. Two, nothing like this happens in the anime. It's like straight up. I wouldn't thought this was going to happen in the anime, but like Thundersteel being inside her weapon is cool. Her getting like the longer hair and tail to reference Dizzy is really cool. Doesn't show up at all. And there's like no explanation for it. And I think it would have been a cool reveal in the anime to be like, oh, Thundersteel is actually what's charging a weapon. Like, that'd be really cool. But that doesn't come up at all. What else? As is pretty obvious from day one. Literally, when this character was announced to be in the anime, everyone's like, she's Kai and Dizzy's daughter, isn't she? And it's like, yeah. Oh. I just noticed. At low health, you can actually see electricity around her. Legitimately didn't notice that until now. So that's kind of telling you can do the fancy super. Her taunts are interesting. One of her taunts involves like judging the fashion choices of other characters. They're mostly like fixed lines, but certain characters have special ones, like Bridget. She makes a comment about like, oversized clothes are really in right now. She comments on like Elfelt's boots. A lot of the characters just have like very canned responses. So yeah, there's not as much to say about her because she's a new character. There's not as much like lore to her other than what's in the anime, and I'm kind of like not entirely sure what to talk about with that. You got a Kai ult, which makes sense, but the other thing that people are very normal about is people think this is a Bridget reference. Like the blonde streak and also the overall color palette. And that's the whole thing to talk about too. Again, I'm going to be talking about the anime a little bit. I'm not going to go super deep into it, but like pseudo review of the anime, I guess. I think the anime was a lot of fun as someone who's into Guilty Gear. I think it's also complete nonsense sometimes in terms of its pacing being all over the place and just also not explaining a lot, and also a lot of the twists of it being completely guessable from like frame one. And again, that goes for Unika herself, where everyone was like, she's got red eyes, she's got the little blue streak in her hair, she's gotta be related to Dizzy, right? And it's like, surprise, surprise, she is. So the TLDR is she's tricked by her evil dad from the future to try to eliminate all the gears. Surprise, surprise, she's also a gear herself, so it also is gonna work on her, but then like, everyone kind of powers through, stops the bad guy. Unika's like pardoned by the government for helping, basically, but is also at this point like kind of working in like the president's secret service, basically. So that's why Gio's here, because like there's a connection there. Which one's Bingus? Yeah. Basically, Bridget tells her about like finding her own shape, which ends up inspiring her to like defy her father, essentially. Fun thing in the anime, this is mildly spoilery, there's a point where Bridget gets like stabbed by a monster. And then like Unika has a moment where this is what drives her to like take charge and like try to save the day. And it's like, yeah, this doesn't happen with like this is framed very much like shipping, kinda. The other thing worth noting though about that is people have thought Bridget dies in the anime. They literally show her at one point. Like, there's a scene where everyone sends their energy to Sen and Unika. Like, literally, Bridget's there, and yet people still were like, oh, they just killed off Bridget. And it's like, they don't?
はい、おしまい。いいんじゃないですか、これだけできれば。ありがとうございます。それじゃあ。はい。例の件、問題なさそうです。じゃあ、私はこれで。ちょっと聞いてないですけど、暇じゃないです。いえ、そういうことではなく。聞いてます？自由の国が聞いて呆れますね。切られた。ダメでしたか？あなたの規制は承認されました。私が同行することが条件だそうですが。ああ、せっかくの休暇がいい男探しですみません。リアラティアにおけるいい男探し手伝います。
So that's something else that is discussed a lot, is like Unika being very confused by the concept of heterosexuality in this moment. But in all seriousness, the other thing is like Via Latia is. I thought the anime would end with the founding of Via Latia, which is like a country within Illyria where like gears and humans can coexist, and that Dizzy and Kai rule together, and that's why Kai abdicates at the end of the another story for this game. So I guess like it's between that epilogue for the Another Story and actually the Another Story itself is where Dual Rulers takes place. You want a UMA? What's a UMA? That's a good question. I don't remember what that stands for either. I like how we went on this bike and just end up in the same exact canyon. Again, I am not going to pretend like I'm particularly qualified to show off Unika's character. She's very fun though. Kind of broken too, like apparently some of her like frame windows are like bizarrely generous in ways that other characters don't get. And as a Disney main, I resent that ever so slightly. And we land the fancy thing. There we go. Actually, we might as well just go straight to finisher, but again, you can keep comboing in midair. It's very hard to land though, so... Basically, this portion of all of her dialogue in Strive implies this takes place a long time after Dual Rollers. Like, she ends up basically being, like, going to America and, like, just traveling around to try to find her shape, essentially. To continue the verbiage in the anime, ends up doing so, kind of. How she exists is also weird, because it's like, oh, she's from a doomed future, so like, if they change the past, like, how is she here? Like, it's one of those things where it's like, there's a lot to pick apart with Dual Rulers, genuinely, but it's like, as someone who just loves the characters and like world building of Strive and Guilty Gear in general, it's like I can kind of overlook some of it. A lot of it still is just like literally, why is that not explained? But basically, like the story mode is her finally going back to Violatia. Also, another weird thing, like, oh, Sen gave her that, because he has one too. They don't show that in the anime, and it's like, why wasn't that there in the anime? That would have made sense. The other beef people have with the anime is there are a couple of weird exclusions, specifically at the very end. Like Dizzy and Kai actually get married, and people are like, why isn't Testament there? And in general, people are like, why isn't Testament here? Because like, Testament is like Dizzy's kind of a... I don't know how to describe the relationship exactly, but they basically protected Dizzy in the forest, and so sort of like a parent relationship. So it's like, where is Testament during all of this? Now, someone also argue, given Testament's role in resurrecting justice, maybe there's a reason they are staying out of the United States. But even then, it's like, on a similar note, conversely, I almost feel like Baiken's inclusion is kind of forced in some ways. It's like, why is Baiken a part of the story? She's just kind of there for most of it. And it's like, kind of awkward, I think. Johnny is also kind of like, why is he here? And also, where's May if Johnny is here? But a lot of the dialogue for Win, like opening and like intro and Win quotes are very cute between Bridget and Unika. There's one point where they're like, so what are we doing after this? And yeah, I think Unika says like, no, Bridget's like, so what are we doing after this? And Unika's like, winner decides. It's like, I don't think purely platonic friends talk this way to each other. Maybe I just don't know about that kind of thing happening. Like, I feel like that's typically presented as a romantic thing. The anime and also the game itself has a line in the extreme route. No guarantees we'll stay on the extreme route. But there's basically a line in the anime and the ending of the extreme route where Unika mentions that she's older than Sin, which is also weird, but because of time travel. So it's like, how old is she? We don't know. They haven't given her an age yet. But if she's older than Sin, she's gotta be like 6 years old. Which sounds wild, but like Guilty Gear logic, you know. Gears age extremely quickly to a certain point. Yeah, her design is alright. I almost wonder if she's gonna stick around. I guess that's like my biggest question in general with a lot of things in Strive. Like, how much is gonna carry forward? And also, like, you're gonna be missing characters that are like stable characters. Like, you're gonna be missing Yuna, which is weird. The first 10-year-old in Guilty Gear, basically. Actually, Dizzy's almost 10. She's like 9, I think. Realizing that this move is just basically Elfelt, except it doesn't help back. This move reminds me of like Dizzy's like reverse quarter circle back Mikhail sword, but with the slash variant in terms of range, but also not as like fast. The problem with Mikhail sword is that's like Dizzy's best poke, which is very depressing. Like a Weed Naturally, of course, is also probably one of my favorite songs in Strive. I did a whole music tier list. I don't know why I'm still talking about this. Because it's like, yeah, I don't think I ever uploaded that anywhere though, beyond like the VOD though. I want to say there are shortcuts to all of her moves for mode Arbalest, but I forgot what they are. Yeah, I'm not proficient with this character yet. I've thought about it, like trying, but I haven't really been feeling Strive lately, just because I don't really feel like getting destroyed by people in online lobbies, to be honest. I've talked about this before, I'm pretty sure, but I always feel like I end up in a weird place with fighting games, where I simultaneously am like pretty decent at them, but also like very uneven with people in either directions, essentially. Like, I know people who I'm better than and people that I'm worse than, so it's really hard to find people that I'm actually relatively even with in terms of like trying to get better at the game. Smash was the biggest problem of that, where it's like I either got completely destroyed in Smash or I just would like 3-stock somebody, and it's like neither feel like it's fun in different directions, I guess, because the one I'm not getting a chance to learn, in the other case, the other person's not getting a chance to learn. So again, I always just end up in a weird middle ground of skill level in fighting games, which is why I tend to just play very casually. Also, they never have her using her sword as a bike in the anime. Presumably it's some kind of upgrade that Soul does, or something, because it looks a lot like whatever the heck Soul's weapon is called. Junkyard Dog? That might be the wrong one, actually. Yeah, this is definitely very anime-tied. So a lot of things are not explained about her. A lot of the dialogue will not... A lot of the dialogue in her arcade mode I think will be totally understandable with like a brief explanation, like the Bridget, you know, intro lines are not going to be overly confusing, I don't think. Oops, there we go. But basically, there is some expectation of anime knowledge going in, which is fine. There's not a whole lot. Again, the Bridget scene, for example, like, that's one of the most shared scenes of the anime, so I'm not, like, overly expecting people to not understand the references there, at least. Yeah, she's kind of like Soul in terms of, like, you can kind of just go all in, rush down, and kind of a bruiser, essentially. But she's fun. I don't like dislike her playstyle, it just doesn't necessarily work for me sometimes. Though I don't know if I have a preferred archetype in general. Like, for example, I always think about what mains I have in every fighting game, and there's like no consistency in terms of like overall, like, what does this say about me, kind of? Like, I don't think there is a through line of like what kind of fighting game characters I enjoy playing as. I'm panicking. Ow. There we go. We are still on the extreme route, by the way. I am not struggling as much as I thought it would. Watch me get like Millie and get completely destroyed because I said that. There's also talks about like when are we even getting a new Guilty Gear because they're still supporting Strive. Normally there's a couple year break in between. It'll probably be a while until we even get a new Guilty Gear after Strive is done. Like I'm looking forward to it, but I'm not like sure where they'll go with it, I guess. There's a lot of places they could go with it, for sure, but... I think this intro is funny if we got the particular one, because each character that has a special intro will have a couple different variations. Okay, that wasn't the one. There's one where Unika doesn't know what a concert is, basically. Like, she pronounces it Concord, I think. Which, to be fair, the English language is very frustrating in that regard, where sometimes you have the same letter pronounced wildly differently in the same sentence. So it's like, I kinda can't blame her for that. Yeah, this is probably where we'll drop down to hard mode. Cause I don't know how to fight Elfel. Case in point. Ouch. Mild focus mode, actually. Ow. That's a good drop. Okay, that's very powerful. Ow. But again, the way this arcade mode does work is if you end up losing both rounds and having to restart everything, it doesn't matter. Basically, only if you win both rounds with one loss does it count. So, like, if you want to stay on extreme, you can just lose a round on purpose. I'm trying to remember where this even is, setting-wise. Like, it's Times Square, I think. It's like, where is Times Square relative to the Guilty Gear lore? It kind of reminds me of Alpha a little bit, actually, in terms of, like, having an overhead, and also having a projectile. That's a very vague connection. I should have done a DP there. But yeah, you can also DP on Wake Up, too, to avoid, like, some things, but... Ow, that's gonna hurt a lot, actually. The other thing worth noting is there's, like, no, buffs or nerfs in this patch. It's, like, entirely just add the character and fix a couple glitches. So, like, if you're still hoping, like, oh, I hope my main gets buffed, that's not in this patch. So, to me, that's a bummer, because I keep hoping Dizzy will get some kind of buff. Because, she's not doing great. Like, mainly her normals, she doesn't really have good pokes, essentially. Again, Mikhail's sword might be her best poke, from what I understand. They're just kind of not good. She lacks range in the cast with a lot of swords. That's not the input I was trying to do, game. Should've... followed this also there. Oh well. We won. So we're still on the extreme route because of that. Like, this is weirdly smooth. I was not expecting this. For a character I barely knew how to play. Like, I'm just kind of BSing my way through this, and I'm kind of flying through here. Meanwhile, once we get to... If we get to extreme route, I will definitely... Like, extreme stage 9, I will suffer. Here comes Daredevil. So, if you get to stage 7, you get, like, a special fight with your rival of sorts. Yeah, if you lose a round in stage 1, then you drop to normal. If you lose a round after stage 1, you'll be on hard.
リアラティア楽しみにしてたんじゃないんですか？あ、はい、そうですね。でも緊張の方が強いかもです。お父さんとお母さんに会うのは 久しぶりなので。今のあなたは脅威じゃないです。ただこの先もそうとは限りません。え？あなたは合衆国の敵ですか？それは見極めさせてもらいます。ビアラティアに着く前に。
It's kind of funny that she says she doesn't pose much of a risk given her risk assessment is the highest in the series. So yeah, the Post-War Administration Bureau, or whatever PWAB stands for, has like risk assessments for everyone. This has been a thing since Accent Core. Everyone's bios lists like a risk assessment. However, notably, Dizzy's is like S++, Unika's is S+++. Like, she is considered the most dangerous character. But the S+++ is based on in the anime where she's like, you know, trying to wipe out all gears. So, slightly different circumstances. Damn, okay. And yeah, I hope a lot of characters stick around from this game. I would love to see, like, Unika get a redesign for a next game. I'd like Giovanna to come back as well and actually get, like, something else to do plot-wise, because she kind of doesn't have a whole lot to do in the story at the moment. She's just, like, Secret Service, essentially. Oh, okay, the jump slash did not go off. Yeah. I'm dropping combos a lot, which isn't great. That's gonna hurt. Oh. Yeah, that's bad. Need to be a little careful. I keep expecting her projectile to come back the other way around like Elfaltz does. Oh, okay, this is it. I'm gonna die from this. But again, we can stay on this path if we lose again. I might try Loveblade Sin. But even then, I got through this arcade mode way faster than with any other character so far. To extreme, to clarify. Okay, skip that, because we've seen it already. Yeah, she has a lot of similarities. I've seen some say she almost has similarities to Order Soul. I do not know enough about Order Soul and Accent Core to say if that's accurate or not. Or if that was just kind of a rumor for a bit. But I did hear discussions about that, for what it's worth. Again, do not have the know-how to say if that's remotely accurate or not. It'd help if I didn't forget a lot of my inputs, because I keep forgetting my moves, actually. Oops, I was trying to do a red wires, like our red RC there. Well, that was slightly anticlimactic, but it worked. And yeah, this stage makes sense for Dizzy. This is apparently near Via Latia, but they basically added a Via Latia stage now, and I kind of wish that was just Dizzy's stage. Like, you can see gears just roaming about. Like, if you know Overture and Exart, like, Dr. Paradigm is just vibing in the background. Which is, like, wild, actually. Like, not an Easter egg in a stage I was expecting. But cool. It's always nice to see, like, legacy characters. Not legacy, I mean, he's never been playable, but, like, you know, story characters show up. Dr. Paradigm, for context, is like a gear who assists in a couple of games. Mostly Overture, and... Exard. I don't think Dr. Paradigm is in the main story modus drive. I don't know if he's in the another story, though. That's very minus on block, I think. Oh, that was unfortunate timing. Alright, well, I'm bracing myself for this. This is gonna go bad.
私は自分自身で何かを決めたつもりになっていました。使命とか救済とか心地いい言葉を信じて周りを見てこなかったんです。そういう環境もありますからね。意外とみんな周り見えてないですよ。でもそのままじゃダメなんだって気づいたから、私は私自身の行いに責任を持つために自分で考えて考え抜いたことをしたい。私にできること、この平和を維持させる、それくらいしか思いつかなかったんです。それをやって初めて胸を張って家族に会えると思ったので。で、どうでした？難しいです。自分の判断をいつも疑ってしまうし、人から信頼されるにはまだまだなんだって思わされます。でも頑張りたいです。私自身が私を好きになるために。いいと思います、そういうの。あ、もう大体ビアラティアなんじゃないですかね。いや、もう少し。どうかな、レイ。やっぱりこの辺でいいよね。ここは大体ビアラティアということで同行も終わりです。じゃあ私今からオフだから。はい、わかりました。休暇明けに会おうね。じゃあね。
I will admit that dialogue does hit a bit close to me too, which is also part of the reason I like Unika. Though I do feel like the overall plot for Unika has been done so many times before in the series. The whole like, oh, Gear who did bad things trying to atone, it's like that describes so many characters at this point. That's fine. Anyway, Stage 8's in, on Extreme. Again, no guarantees about Stage 9, but we'll give this a shot.
Unika versus Duel 1. Let's rock.
Okay, straight into it, okay. Hey, so Sid is a character I struggle to fight against anyway, let alone like a souped up level 9 version, which is part of the reason I'm like, maybe I should just stop here. Maybe I should just let him get around in, so we can just stop at level 8, because I have no clue what Stage 9 Sin is gonna be like. He's probably gonna have like full food gauge all the time or something ridiculous. The first character I ever attempted a Stage 9 run was with that. The first character I attempted a Stage 9 with was Bridget. It did not go well, because like Stage 8 Kai was completely destroying me, so I never even got to Stage 9. Again, this is the best I've ever done. Like, organically, like only 2 resets up to this point, one on Alphelt and one on Geo 2. Like, that's not bad for me. It's almost like playing a character for 3 months straight, like, helps with overall situational awareness even beyond just gameplay mechanics of that character. It's like I'm definitely using RC more than I used to. I've used Wild Assault a couple times, though I should still use it more. I also need to use Mode Arbalist more for Unika in particular. Is that invincible? I don't know. It kind of feels like it has invincibility. Like the slide part, I mean. Yeah, I'm botching a lot of inputs here, but again, this is not a character I normally play, so I'm not expecting perfection out of this run. They are cute, actually, as a sibling duo. Alright, if there's not anything special, I'm pretty sure the dialogue's gonna be the same for this because this is a story fight, essentially. We'll start skipping this if it's the same. I don't know how many intro quotes each character has and how they even work in Arcade. Alright, better start. for sure. Actually, can you slide into DP? Yeah, you can. Okay. That's good to know. Okay. But yeah, the main takeaway I'm having is like, I think I've just gotten better at the game in general. Like, that's the main thing I'm really noticing. It's like, huh, I'm actually doing way better than I did as Dizzy when we did that stream playthrough. That was like very disastrous, I would say, at times. I mean, this is still not going, you know, ideally, obviously. You know, we are kind of struggling a little bit, and again, I shudder to think what level 9 is going to be like, but, you know, for stage 8, this is going pretty well. Like, that was smooth. Not on purpose, but it was smooth. Again, a lot of things that are happening on screen right now are completely accidental, I'm going to be honest. Because I don't quite understand how our combos work, but I'll also take it, because this is going very well so far. Alright, round 2. Ow. See, that's more of what I expected, how I expected that to go. So what do we want to do here? I also need to do this more. Shit. I forgot. Mikhail Sword's like the best way to break wall. It's Dizzy, but she doesn't have a heavy slash variant, only regular slash. So that threw me off. Ow. I'm gonna save first. I'm not feeling confident. Okay. Yeah, the only problem is if I get to stage 9, I'm gonna get obliterated. So it's like, do I just call it here? And not, you know, risk, you know, spending an hour extra on the stream trying to beat stage 9 Sin? Like, what do I do here? Is basically the thought process. Never mind, he's deciding that for me, I guess. That's fine by me, admittedly. It's also really weird to me how Sin's eye patch says hello on it. Like, it's very interesting. Chaos Gear designs are always kind of interesting. Okay, that did not combo the way I was hoping it would, but it's fine. Alright, so far so good. I need to do the other move. Sin drink his milk, yeah, it's always interesting, actually, like, Sin is like 5 years old. Which is like... Yeah, Unika's gotta be like 6 or something if she's older than Sin. Which is like, that, I mean, that's older than when Kai and Dizzy got married, if we're being honest. Which is also wild to think about. And I realized we could do the cool thing, or at least attempt the cool thing, but that requires actually taking a huge risk of getting down to low health against a stage 8 Sin. So I don't know if I should do that. Ow. I mean, I guess we don't have a choice. Okay, I didn't think it was just gonna stand there and take it, but I had hope. I saw a burst, so that's not bad. Ow. Ow. Yeah, that's good. Actually, the super would just kill at this point, so we might as well not try to be fancy. I'm just gonna be cheap. There we go.
やっぱすげえな、ユニカ。前よりじゃっと強くなってるじゃないか。
ありがとう。でもまだまだだよ。まだ足りないものばかり。うまくできないことも多いし。
おいおいおい。これだけ頑張ってるのに、なんでそんなこと言うんだよ。少なくとも俺はユニカが一生懸命なの分かったぜ。
それはシンが私のことを知ってるから。知らない人から見たらきっと。
なんで知らねえやつの話してんだよ。ユニカは頑張った。俺はそれが分かった。そこは本当のことじゃねえか。
ごめん。
いや悪い。強く言っちまったけどさ。でも自分が頑張った分くらいは俺に自慢してくれよ。そうしてくれたらきっと俺も嬉しいから。あ、 ごめん、泣かせるつもりじゃ。
泣いてない。
そっか。ああ、あれか。鼻水か。今日ちょっと寒いもんな。うん。
バカ。
I do want to acknowledge the normal ending. No, the hard mode ending. So if you go to hard mode before stage 8, the the initial story character will team up with you to fight the boss. So this is Geo in this case. And it ends with Unika and Sin basically like roping Giovanna in to go to dinner at like Disney and Guy's place. It's very fun. And then the extreme route ending is kind of not too different from that, but overall it has the undertone of also like one establishing, yeah, Sin gave her a pendant, and also that I don't know. Yeah, they mentioned the age joke again. They also don't list the voice actors for Unika in this at all, which I assume has to do with the actor strike currently. That everyone currently credited in the game is just like was already in there, but like I assume it's something like that. But this would have also been recorded like a long time ago, so yeah, I like Unika a lot. I think her story is very resonant. I think the Extreme Stage 8 ending is actually more resonates more with me than the Stage 9 ending. So I'm actually glad to finally see that, because I don't think I saw anyone upload that. So again, very happy to have experienced that. And again, it definitely hits a little close to home, if I'm being real. But I did enjoy that a lot. Again, she's a very interesting character. At this point, she's kind of trying to atone for everything that happened in Dual Whirlers, which makes a lot of sense, and again, I do relate to some degree. The other interesting thing with Unika is just, yeah, at this point, you know, it's kind of implied that she hadn't even seen Sin or her parents until this point in the story, so who knows how long it's been. It also raises the question of when did she discover that, like, Thunder Seal's inside her weapon, or like the whole like growing a tail thing for her super. It's like, when did she unlock that power? We don't know, because it's never been shown. Which is kind of one of those things where I know a lot of people are like, why wasn't this in the anime? Or why wasn't this, you know, in the game? Why wasn't this explained better? I'm also kind of like, so much time has passed between the story moments that we know that I almost don't feel that picky about it, I guess. Maybe that's just my story approach to everything. It's like, I don't need direct answers for a lot of things if like a time jump is established. Like, it doesn't really need to be stated overtly for me to be like okay with it. But again, this is implied that like this is after she comes back and she's seeing everyone for the first time, including Bridget in her win quotes, or in her intro quotes. It's very much like, hey, show me what you learned, kind of a thing. That's kind of the other problem with Dual Whirlers, is Bridget's role is weirdly, like, truncated, in terms of, like, there's no real closure to their relationship in the anime. Though again, it is implied in the game that they actually didn't even cross paths until this point in the game. So I guess that does make sense that, you know, Bridget's not at the wedding, because then there'd be a plot hole. So yeah, there's a lot of weird oddities with Dual Whirlers. I think it's almost like a Persona 5 to Persona... a Persona 5 Royal to Persona 5 Strikers issue where both were being developed concurrently, so some things don't line up very smoothly. You can technically explain some things away, but it's not like the smoothest thing. I think it's kind of the same thing. This lines up mostly with Dual Whirlers, but there are a couple of things of like, when did she learn this? In like the few months that she's been traveling, presumably, but it's never shown. But again, I don't feel overly strongly about like needing all the particulars, or maybe they'll do a separate story mode focused on Unika for like season 5, a hypothetical season 5 or something. I also kind of feel like Dual Whirlers itself feels a bit like a story mode for Guilty Gear Xrd and Strive, for all the good and bad that entails of sometimes being very much leaning into lore dumps and also having very stiff animation at times. Decent fight scenes, except there's a lot of like freeze frames to like spare the budget essentially. So in general, like Dual Rulers is kind of like a 6 or 7 out of 10, but a 6 or 7 out of 10. I really enjoyed it, at least, just because again I am mildly biased about Guilty Gear probably to some degree. That helps. So like for someone who's not super into the lore or is more like casually into the series, it will one be very confusing, and two be very like possibly unsatisfying at times. But again, I did enjoy Dual Rulers quite a bit for what it's worth.